So let's start. Last day we were discussing about our lesson, the last lesson about natural disasters. So these natural disasters like drought, landslide, flood, lightning, forest fires, tsunami, tornado, cyclones, these can occur sometimes due to the natural reasons. Can be climate changes or weather changes, right? Can even be global warming and can be due to the change of the patterns in the rotation or the movement, or can be due to some phenomena happen in sun or our solar system, or even it can be due to the reason that man-made reasons such as construction, so or using resources in like wasting resources or polluting resources, that can be even due to that. Okay, let's see how these disasters can happen and what are the main disasters that can happen around us. Fortunately or unfortunately, we cannot see volcanoes in Sri Lanka, but cyclones, tornadoes, cyclones rarely, earthquakes rarely there are. These days, actually, there are higher tendency to tendency for these earthquakes, because around the world, several places, if you have seen that in news today or tomorrow, yesterday also, there was a small earthquake around us. Have you heard?
Yes, sir.
I think it is in the ocean, right? So in the Indian Ocean or somewhere, there was a small earthquake. And so these are now frequent because sometimes due to one earthquake, it can stimulate other earthquakes too. How? Earthquake is basically the tectonic plates, the movement of these plates, no? So Earth is basically composed, or we are in some plates. These plates are moving. Sometimes these plates, this impact of the movement can affect us as an earthquake. It can happen inside the ocean or in the land side, even land side or ocean side. Anyway, so nowadays, because of the stimulations happen recently here and there, because of this, there can be higher tendency for earthquakes. So other plates can even move or maybe impact some other plates, and therefore there can be some like more earthquakes. So this period is not really good for earthquakes. So be on alert. So because we can feel it. Have you feel that? Have you ever experienced earthquake? අවධාරි
No.
දැන් ලතියනවද නෑ මම මට මතකයි අවුරුද්ද ගොඩාක් කාලයකට කලින් අවුරුදු 15කට කලින් 15 years ago I feel what one, like it's like vibration, right? It's like vibrating in my bed and all, so feel real like it's heavy vibration, and even so can feel that the walls and the roof is even vibrating. But anyway, it was not a damaging one, the small one. So that can even happen. So, but these are not very common. But these are common in Sri Lanka, right? Landslides are very common because we have a lot of mountains and mountain ranges. In your area, also in Nuwara area, in central province. So in this wet zone, right? In wet zone and also Kegol like area, there are a lot of mountains and mountain ranges. Therefore, landslides are very common. Flood is common because we are affected by rain. Or throughout the year, we get some sort of rain, right? So can be due to monsoon and can be in the April season also. So we are like in the middle now. Monsoon is mostly over. Now we are waiting for the April rains, and that will be with lightning, right? And forest fire in Sri Lanka, it's there, but it's not very common. Tsunami, we face one tsunami, so it's not very common, but still can happen. So mainly the things that can happen around us: landslide, flood, lightning, and drought can even be, right, in some regions. not in the wet zone, but dry zone, drought can be there. Wet zone, rarely drought situations are. Okay. So these are the common things: drought, landslide, flood, and lightning, thundering. These are the things that can happen around us. So let's learn about them. And drought can be due to absence of rain, long-term absence actually. දීර්ඝකාලීනව වැස්ස වැටුනේ නැත්තම් ඔන්න අපිට නියග එන්න පුළුවන්. දීර්ඝකාලීන වැස්සක්. එහෙම නැත්තම් ඒක තව වැස්ස තියෙනවා, සමහරට වැස්ස අරගෙන යනවා හුලඟේ. So dry wind. So because like if wind is heavy, then we can the rain will not last for a certain period, because wind is very powerful. It can wipe out. So that can even be the reason. Anyway, absence of rain mainly, and it can even be misusing the resources, or it can be damages done to these rainforests and trees. That can even be the reason due to that. So this can happen. So drought is a situation where the water in the soil, so there are different ways that we can see water, surface water in the river. Rivers, we can see surface water, and ocean, we can see surface water, tanks, surface water. But in addition to that, water is there inside the land also. In this lithosphere, there is an amount of hydrosphere, right? It is not actually in the surface, but within, right? That can be low due to high transpiration rates, due to the dry and windy situation. So plants can increase. Plants may increase its evaporation, right? Evaporation is basically this water in the surface. It's going to be in the atmosphere. So that can be transpiration, or due to the hot weather, direct evaporation. So can be there, right? So I think you can remember these words, right?
Yes, sir.
Direct evaporation is basically where you can see from the land or the soil landslide, right? Basically due to hot weather, from the land directly it's moving to this water vapor moving to the air layer. This direct, right? This can happen landslide. And even ocean, right? Direct evaporation can happen in ocean. Even here you can see in the land side evaporation, but it can even happen in water surface, right? In the hydrosphere, water surface of also ocean evaporation can happen. Land evaporation, ocean evaporation, anyway. But transpiration is basically moving. That is also evaporation. But transpiration is where water moves out from the leaves. But you can see this is what the transpiration is. Okay, that is also, so due to the dry weather or windy situation, the plants can increase its transpiration rates. So when the transpiration rate increases, the osmosis, basically it absorbs water, right? It absorbs water which is deposited in the soil. දැන් මේක වේගය වැඩි වෙද්දී ට්‍රාන්ස්උත්සේදනය වැඩි වෙද්දී එයා මොකද කරන්නේ? මේ භූගත ජලය පොළවේ තියෙන වතුර වේගෙන් උරා ගන්නවා. ඒකත් එක හේතුවක් සමහරට මේ ඩ්‍රොට් එකකට නියගයකට හේතු වෙන්න පුළුවන්. මොකද මේ වගේ වේගය වැඩි වෙලා මේකේ මේව වෙන ඉවැපොරේෂන් වේගය ට්‍රාන්ස්පිරේෂන් වේගය වැඩි වෙලා ඒ උත්සේදනය වැඩි වීම නිසා පොළවෙන් ජලය වේගෙන් උරා ගැනීම මේකට හේතු වෙන්න පුළුවන්. හරි, ඒ වගේම මේ දැන් මේ ගස් තියෙනකොට හෙවණ තියෙනවනේ. ඉතින් හෙවණ නැතිකොට මොකද වෙන්නේ? When like this shadow is not there, then what will happen? Then direct evaporation will be, rates will also increase. Directly evaporation එන එක තවත් වැඩි වෙනවා. එතකොට මේ වෙලාවේ හුලඟක් තිබ්බොත් we cannot expect precipitation. දැන් මේක උඩට ගියොත් ආයෙ වැටෙනවනේ. උඩ ගියොත් බිම වැටෙනවා කියලා තියෙනවනේ. ඒක හරි. හැබැයි උඩ ගියොත් වෙලාව හොඳ නැත්තම් හුලඟෙන් මොකද වෙන්නේ? මේක අරගෙන යනවා තව කොහෙට හරි. තමයි උඩ යනවා හුළඟෙන් මේක අරන් ගිහලා මුහුදට වහිනවා. ආයෙ උඩට යනවා හුළඟෙන් මේ වලාකුළු ටික ගිහිල්ලා මුහුදට තමයි වහින්නේ. So if unfortunate situation happen like that, even the evaporation and transpiration cannot bring the precipitation back to the soil. So that can lead to drought. ඒ වගේ situation in the monsoon time එකේදී වෙන්නේ ඒ වගේ එකක්. Okay. Right. So reason for drought. Right. So you are asked to find details about this rainfall, annual rainfall. These details are available in nowadays. These details are available online. No need to contact the meteorological department, because you can just get it from the internet. And if you go to accuweather.com, mostly these details are available. Even prediction is possible. Weather prediction is done using that, and the previous data also can be collected through this. Okay, reason for drought can be lack of timely monsoon winds. So what are these monsoon winds? Mosam sulan kiyane monawada? So what are the monsoons that we are having? Common monsoons in Sri Lanka. What are the common monsoons we experience? Apita tiyena monsoons monawada?
Southwest monsoon, northeast monsoon, convectional.
Sorry?
Southwest monsoon.
Southwest. Oh.
Northeast monsoon.
Nirita diga, Isana diga.
Conventional.
Conventional is not monsoon, it's conventional rain, right? In April season. රස්නෙට සංවහන වැසි කියන්නේ නේද? රත් වෙලා වතුර උඩට ගිහිල්ලා වාෂ්ප වෙලා ඒවා වලාකුළු දැන් උඩඟත් නැති හින්දා වලාකුළු විදියට වෙලා අප්‍රේල් වලට වහින්නේ අර බක් මහකුණු කියලානේ. අකුණුත් ගහලා වහින්නේ. Those are called conventional rains, right? Monsoons are basically the southwest and northeast. Nirita digi Isan. What are the durations? Time period?
Southwest during May to September.
September, yes. Normally September, around June, September, yeah, May, June, September. Then this
November to February.
Yeah, November to February, January, normally November to January, up to February it can grab. November, January, February වෙනකන්
conventional rain
conventional rains are basically in the
March, April.
Yeah, March, April. එතකොට හැම කාලෙම වගේ අපිට වැස්ස තියෙනවා නේද? So most of the months we are getting this, and the frequent showers can be there due to some other reasons also. That the low pressure in the Bengal Bay and all different changes, climate changes, wind changes, right? Okay. Then lack of timely monsoon winds, that can be one reason. So to actually this El Nino situation can be a reason for like El Nino can affect timely monsoons too. So what is El Nino? El Nino, have you heard of El Nino? Yes. El Nino.
අහලා තියෙනවද මොකක්ද කියලා ඉතින් මතක නැහැ.
එහෙම දන්නේ නැහැ. El Nino is something like that. I'll show you animation, but before that I would like to show how El Nino occurs. So let's go to the map. And so this is mainly common in this, not in Indian Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, right? Not in Atlantic. It is in mainly this El Nino situation occurs. We refer to the Pacific Ocean because that is the South Pacific and North Pacific. You can see it is like you cannot see any land there, right? When you zoom into Pacific Ocean, that is very, very biggest one, and you can see in the west side Australia, east side you can see America, Ecuador and all. And Ecuador, America, Peru, Chile, Mexico, this part, right? Guatemala, Colombia, Venezuela. So those are the things that is in the east side. The other side, you can see Philippines, Indonesia, and Western Australia, Papua New Guinea, Philippines. So these are the other side. So normally what will happen Normally there are winds called trade winds. Velanda sulan කියලා අපි කියන trade winds කියලා කියනවා. මේ trade winds සාමාන්‍යයෙන් තියෙන්නේ මෙහෙම. වෙන පාටකින් අඳින්න. Normal situation is this trade winds. නැත්නම් මේ වෙළඳ සුළං කියනවා මෙන්න මේ ඇන්ගල් එකට තමයි ටිකක් තියෙන්නේ මේ වගේ. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් තියෙන මෙහෙම. Okay, when this wind is there, what will happen? Wind will wipe this hot air. මේ සාමාන්‍ය මේ වාතය රත් වෙනවනේ දැන් අවුව වැටිලා හොඳට ඉරේලිය වැටලා මේක රත් වෙනවා. Right, when this become hot, it will evaporate. It will evaporate, and also the surface of the water surface is also hot. වතුර මතු පිටත් ටිකක් රස්නේ ඇතුළට යන්න සීතලයි. හරිද? වතුර මතු පිට surface water is also hot, and also the wind is also hot because then මේකේ ගොඩක් ජල වාෂ්පනේ තියෙන්නේ වතුර වාෂ්ප වෙලානේ. එතකොට humidity එක වැඩි. When humidity is high, it will be really hot, right? I think you have experienced before the rain. Before a rain, there is a period where the clouds are in the sky and you feel really hot and humid, right? Have you experienced that? The බැස්සට කලින් පොඩි රස්නයක් එනවා. රස්නේ තියෙනකොට කියන්නේ අත්තම්මල එහෙම අද නම් වහී වගේ කියලා.
Yes, sir.
Basically that happens now because of this like high humidity and hot air. And what will happen when wind is there? It's pushing the air to the west side. The west side එකට ඕක තල්ලු කරගෙන එනවා. අර hot surface, hot water surface as well as hot air surface will come to the west side. මේ තමයි normally තියෙන විදිහ. Then automatically what will happen? Here this is the cool side, right? So this side is cool because of the wind, and this side will become hot because of the hot air as well as the water surface. Actually, I will show you an animation just to get an idea about how this El Ninos can happen, right? But this is not El Nino situation, this is normal situation. But periodically, maybe 3 to 7 years, this happens. 3 to 7 years. Earlier days, actually scientists have not discovered what was happening there. But later they understood this situation and they named this as El Nino. Actually, this wind is changing. This wind is not lasting as it is. මේ වෙළඳ හුලං කියනවා මේ හැමදාම තියෙන්නේ නැහැ මේක. So everything need to change, no? So do this trade wind. So it will change. It will change, and the speed of this trade wind will be very lower or weaken in some time. සමහර අවුරුදු වල දැන් මේ අවුරුදු 3කට 5කට සැරයක් මේක වෙන්න පුළුවන්. 3ක් 7ක් අතර වගේ මේවා මේ ගොඩාක් මේ wind එක මේ අඩු වෙනවා. So when this wind is weak, very weak, it cannot push this hot layer to the west. එතකොට මෙයාට බෑ අර උණුසුම් ටික තල්ලු කරගන්න බෑ. තල්ලු කරන්න. One more thing I couldn't mention another thing. So when this area is very hot, so what can happen when this area is earlier, right? Without El Nino. El Nino situation එක තමයි මේ දැන් El Nino එක හදාගන්න කලින් කොහොමද තිබ්බේ? මේ පැත්තේ රස්නේනේ. This area, the surface is hot and air layer is hot. Then what will happen? Then the evaporation is high. Evaporation is high, and therefore when the evaporation is high, there is high amount of clouds form in this area, and you will get rapid rains. Okay, ඒ හින්දා වැඩි දැන් මේ පැත්තේ මේ ජල වාෂ්ප වැඩිනේ මේවා රත් වෙලක් තියෙන මේ මදිවට ඒවා උඩට ගියාම automatically cool වෙනවනේ ඝනීභවනය වෙලා වලාකුළු හැදෙනවා. Therefore what will happen? So because of this clouds, these areas will get regular showers or rain. Normally දැන් බලන්න මේ ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ මේ කොළ පාට පැත්තේ ඇයි මේ තියෙන්නේ? මේ පැති කාන්තාර. මේ පැති කාන්තාර වෙන deserts. But you can see here Papua New Guinea, Indonesia, this Philippines, Taiwan, this China, this area, Vietnam, these areas mainly rainforests. Some rainforests are there. Because of this, hot air layer. අර මේ තියෙන රස්නේ හුළඟ හින්දා වතුර උඩට ගිහිල්ලා ඉක්වේටර් එක තියෙන්නේ කො ඉක්වඩෝ එක උඩින්නේ තියෙන්නේ ඉක්වේටර් එක. මෙන්න මේ හරියන්න තියෙන ඉක්වේටර් එකයි තියෙන්නේ ඉක්වේටර්. අර ඔය ඉක්වේටර් එකෙන් ගත්තම සමකාසන්නේ ගත්තම මේ පැත්තට හොඳට මෙන්න මේ ඒරියාස් වලට වහින. සාමාන්‍යයෙන්. උදර මොන්සූන් ටික වැඩ කරනවා වහිනවා. ඔහොම ඉන්න පන්න එකේ ඉන්න වැහැලා හොඳට ඉන්නවා ඒගොල්ලෝ. රස්නේ තමයි උලන් රස්නේ වුණාට වහින. උදර මේ පැත්තට වහින්නේ නැහැ. Here not that much rain, but the water is cool ne watura cool hinda me පැත්තේ ඉන්න මාළු කැමති මේ වැඩේ. Okay, these are some other things that you need to know, but this is not related to natural disasters, right? This is the situation that created this in El Nino. Maybe අපි ඉස්සරහට ඉගෙන ගනින් තව. එහෙන් තමයි මම පොඩ්ඩක් වැඩිපුර කියන්නේ. එතකොට මේ පැත්තේ උන මාළු වැඩි. ඒ හින්දා ගොඩක් බලන්න මේ if you check in internet Peru, right? Peru and then Colombia, this Ecuador, this area, Chile, right? ඒගොල්ලෝ ගොඩක් කරන්නේ fisheries, මත්ස්‍ය කර්මාන්තය. Because of the cool water here, there are a lot of fishes living in this area. Panama, මේ පැත්තේ මාළු ටිකක් වැඩි. දැන් ඕක ඔහොම තියෙනකොට එල් නිනෝ එකක් එනවා. El Nino will slow down. In El Nino situation, the trade wind will slow down. Trade wind එකේ ඔන්න හුළඟ දැන් අඩු වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. හුළඟ අඩු වෙනකොට මොකද වෙන්නේ? මෙන්න මේ රත් වෙච්ච වාතය මේ පැත්තට තල්ලු කරගන්න මෙයාට බැහැ. දැන් මේ රත් තුන ටික දැන් යන්නේ නැහැ. දැන් රත් වෙච්ච ඒවා මේ මදිවට මෙන්න මේ පැත්තට ටිකක් තල්ලු වෙගෙන යන්නේ නැති හින්දා ඔන්න මෙහෙ එකතු වෙන්න ගන්නවා. මෙහෙ එකතු වෙන්න ගන්නකොට so this is actually reverse situation. When hot air is here and the evaporation will high, and then what will happen? Then ඒ කාලේ වෙනකොට මේකේ clouds වැඩිපුර හැදෙන්න අරගෙන ඔන්න හිටි ගමන් දැන් මේ අවුරුදු දෙකකට 5 වගේ කාලයක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඔන්න ඒ කාලෙට එක පාටම දැන් මේ පැත්තට ඉක්වඩෝ, කොලොම්බියා, these Peru, Mexico මේ පැති වලට ඔන්න නැති වෙන්න වහින්න ගන්නවා. ඒ වෙනකන් මස්ස නැහැ. දැන් මේ පැත්තේ බලන්න ටිකක් වැඩිපුර තියෙන කාන්තාර. සීතලයි තමයි. සීතලයි ඒ වුණාට මේ කියන්නේ ලකු මේව එකක් නෑ. හැබැයි සිසිල් වියලි and you can see here cool but dry. But that time when El Nino occurs, El Nino එකක් ආපෙටි මෙහි වහින්න ගන්නවා. මෙහි වහින්න ගන්නකොට මෙහෙට මොකද වෙන්නේ? What will happen here? මෙහෙ මොනවා වෙනවද? Yes, other side. Again dry, right? අර පැත්තට වහිනකොට මේ පැත්තේ this way here it's not that much hot but dry. So that can even cause drought. දැන් ඔන්න නියග එහෙම මෙහෙට එන්න ගන්න. ඒ ඇස්සේ monsoon තිබ්බේ නැත්තම් හොඳටම නියග. මේ අපිටත් එක බලපානවා මේක. monsoon time එකක් නෙවෙයි නා නියග monsoon තිබ්බොත්. If monsoon is there, for an example, the east-west monsoon is there, then less amount of rainfall. අර හොඳට වහින්නේ. නිරිත දිග වැස්ස එනවා. හැබැයි එල් නිනෝ එකක් තියෙන හින්දා නිරිත දිග වැස්සෙන් වහින්නේ. වහිනවා ටිකයි. මොකද මේ ඉෆෙක්ට් එක මේ පැත්තට යනකම්ම තියෙනවා. ඒතකොට මොසම් තිබ්බේ නැත්තම් නියග. If monsoons are not there, then it can be drought. And then මේ පැතිවල ඔන්න ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාව වගේ පැතිවල ආරංචි වෙනවා අපිට this bush fires, ලැබුගිනි ඔය වගේ ඒවා ආරංචි වෙනවා because of this situation. අපේ නම් bush fire නෑ but can be drought, right, because of absence of rain. Right. Okay, then El Nino එකෙන් පස්සේ තව එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒක ඔයාලගේ book එකේ නම් දීලා නැහැ. El Nino ගේ නංගි. හරිද? So we call the other situation after El Nino. What will happen? The wind will be, so this wind slow down. The wind will be even more faster. Wind, it was a fast. This is not El Nino. There's another name. I will tell that. So there will be fast, and very fast this hot zone will move to the west. And what will happen? එහෙම ආපු හැටිය මේ පැත්තේ ගම් වතුර ගලලා එහෙම තමයි ඉවර වෙන්නේ. there will be a lot of flooding, monsoon, flooding, and then tornadoes, and a lot of issues because of heavy rains. So this is actually post El Nino situation. Post El Nino situation. Okay, let's see what El Nino is, and then let's see this animation, and then you can get an idea about El Nino. Sorry, did you ask anything?
සර් මේ අර අනිත් එල්ලිනෝ එක මොකද්ද?
Post El Nino situation. Okata
Post El
කියනවා
Nino.
La Nino or something, right?
Okay.
Yeah, cannot remember this. That is the that is අනිත් El Nino කියන්නේ නෙවෙයි. El Nino එකේ ඒක post El Nino situation. El Nino එකට පස්සේ එන situation එක. That is La Nino or something. So I'll show you this. I cannot remember the exact wording. Sorry. So let's go and see what is El Nino. Yeah, La Nina. The other one is La Nina.
Okay.
Yeah. That is what the situation is called, La Nina. El Nino, La Nina. Okay, National Geographic Collective. Okay, let's see this video.
A natural force of nature unlike any other. El Nino is capable of unleashing a fury of climate changes and natural disasters that span from Alaska all the way to South America and beyond. What causes El Nino, and how are we affected by it? El Nino is not a storm, but rather a weather phenomenon in the Pacific Ocean. During an El Nino, the surface water temperature warms up, leading to complex weather patterns.
Okay, you can see the hot air moves here. This is what the El Nino.
And warm water.
So when this warm water comes, warm water is floating. No, උණු වතුරයි ඇල් වතුරයි ගත්තොත් උණු වතුර උඩ පාවෙනවා. එතන මේ උණු වතුර එනකොට මෙයාලා කැම තියෙන්නේ මෙයාලගේ ප්ලවාංග වගේ දේවල්. So small plants and all. So these will be rare. එතකොට කැම නැති වෙනකොට මාළු ඉන්නේ නැහනේ. ඒගොල්ලෝ අර සීතල පැත්ත මේ වතුර උඩ වතුර සීතල පැත්තට යනවා. මොකද මේ පැත්තේ තමයි එයාලට කැම තියෙන්නේ. That is why they cannot find fishes there. Actually, there will be less. But there will be less.
Suffer and fish.
This part, they will experience rain, and also they will experience the climate changes like tornadoes, right? Tornadoes like thing, and floods even. Heavy
and the increase of some vector-borne.
Okay, අපි අනිත් පැත්තට තියෙන එකත් පොඩ්ඩක් බලමු. El Nino situation, that how ocean water works. This El Nino and La Nina. Okay, this may explain that part.
Some moments call for Nescafe.
Okay.
Into life in the Pacific Ocean around the equator. It can affect weather around the world, changing the odds of floods, drought, heat waves, and cold seasons for different regions, even raising global temperatures. But what is El Nino and how does it happen? Firstly, we need to know what's normally happening in the tropical Pacific. This vast stretch of ocean sees consistent winds, called trade winds, that blow.
Yeah, this is what I said, the trade winds.
These winds push warm water near the surface in their...
And you can see this is warm water. And the warm water will go to this side, and here warmest. And then little by little, the cool water is there in the bottom. Warm water is floating in the ocean. Not in the ocean. You can try this. Put different two colors. Just put one color to warm water, one color to cool water, and slowly use a beaker and just pour it to the beaker. and you can see the warm water is floating. උණු වතුර පාවෙනවා, සීතල වතුර උඩ. So that is the normal nature. You can see that, and here also that happens. Here you can see the hot water, here cool water in the bottom, hot water in the top, cool water in the bottom, and hot air here. That caused the cloud, right? Okay.
A direction of travel. So the warm water piles up on the western side of the ocean around Asia and Australasia. On the other side of the ocean, around South and Central America, as the warmer water gets pushed away from the coast, it's replaced by cold water, which is pulled up from deeper down in the ocean, a process called upwelling.
So this process is called upwelling. This is not required for your knowledge, but just for additional knowledge, right? Upwelling is basically the cool water moves up. When upwelling is there, there will be more food sources for the fishes.
This creates a temperature difference across the tropical Pacific, with warmer water piled up in the west and cooler water in the east. Warmer water adds extra heat to the air, which causes the air to rise with more vigor, and it's this rising air that creates an area of more unsettled weather, with more cloud and rainfall. That rising air in the west sets up atmospheric circulation across this part of the world, with warm, moist air rising on one side of the ocean and cooler, drier air descending on the other. This circulation reinforces the easterly winds, so this part of the world sits in a self-perpetuating state until El Niño begins. If conditions are right, tropical Pacific weather systems, or slow changes in the ocean around the equator, can set off a chain of events which weaken or even reverse the usual trade winds. With weakened trade winds, there's less push of
You can see
warm
the
surface
now
water
trade wind
to
is
the
weak,
western side of the ocean, and
Yeah,
less
what will happen to the hot
upwelling of
water?
cold
It will move
water
to the other
on the
side
eastern side.
slowly. It
This
will move to the
allows
other
the
side.
usually colder
also-
parts of the ocean to warm, cancelling out the normal temperature difference. Because the area of warmest water moves, so does the associated wet and unsettled weather. This changes rainfall patterns over the equatorial Pacific, as well as the large-scale wind patterns. It's this change in winds which has a knock-on effect, changing temperature and rainfall in locations around the world. The main impacts are around the tropics, where you see an increase in the risk of floods in Peru and droughts in Indonesia, India, and parts of Brazil.
You can see Indonesia, India, our side it is drought. The other side it is heavy rain and floods.
But virtually
storms.
wherever you are in the world, El Niño has the potential to affect you directly via the weather or indirectly via socio-economic impacts. There's another impact from El Niño which happens because of all the extra heat at the surface of the tropical Pacific. This releases vast amounts of energy into the atmosphere, which can temporarily push up global temperatures. This is why El Niño years often feature among the warmest on record. Each El Niño event is different, so the global impacts can change. You can find out more about the differing impacts of El Niño on our website. El Niño
Okay,
peaks
anyway,
around Christmas time
here
and
you
lasts
cannot
for several
see
months. It can
something
die.
about La Nina. So you can hear, this is another one. You can, if you want, you can just go to this La Nina video too. El Nino, the reverse of El Nino and more extreme situation is La Nina. La Nina is again coming back to the normal, but it is like extremer than normal. Extremer than normal means the wind is very faster. So this is fastly moving to the west again. That is why it is extreme. Right? Okay. So La Nina, actually, anyway, it's not there, right? You can see the monsoons that I mentioned earlier. So south is southwest monsoon and east northeast monsoon. So typical season May to September, but it is not normally starting from May and lasting up to September. Sometimes it can even be June, and sometimes it can even finish before September, right? So that depends. Sometimes it can go from July to August even. There will be slight changes, but this is where you can expect the typical monsoon. Actually, this southwest monsoon affect the wet zone as Sri Lanka, there are mountains. Sri Lanka and there are mountain ranges here. So when wind comes from here this side in southwest monsoon, so what will happen? So it will hit the mountains and the clouds will be created here. So that will not travel, like it will slightly go here, but mostly the clouds are in this region. So you can expect rainfall here.
Okay.
Okay, then in the other time, when you can expect wind from the other side, that is basically wind coming from land to ocean. Actually, this is due to the India. India is also needed in this case. The first wind, first is southwest monsoon is basically wind comes from ocean, and it's move towards the land, ocean to land. The other in the northeast monsoon, it's reverse. It is basically land to ocean. So wind comes in land to ocean. Actually, that is circulating when then the clouds will be here and there will be rain comes to this. Anyway, mountain rain, sometimes they can expect rain in both seasons. Conventional or intermonsoonal rains are basically that we expect nowadays. Those are called intermonsoonal rains due to the extra heat in this period. Okay. This is the before El Nino, and this is at the El Nino. Right, what will happen in the El Nino? Wind pattern changes. Right, okay. Anyway, other than this El Nino situation, other than the wind pattern, other than this conventional or monsoons and dry air, even human activities can happen. Drought, wastage of water, deforestation basically cutting the trees, right? Decrease of the water retention due to it can be due to various constructions and not having enough water collection methods. Rainwater collection methods were there in ancient Sri Lanka, like tanks and all, but nowadays those are not used properly. Due to those reasons, the drought can be high. Global warming is also affecting this. Global warming, day by day, the temperature is rising because of human activities and carbon dioxide like gases, which is like the greenhouse gas. Carbon dioxide gas is basically called greenhouse. You can experience that. If you cover your face with a bed sheet for some time, you can feel the greenhouse effect because of exhaled air. In exhaled air, you have carbon dioxide. එතකොට ඔයාලා නිකන් රෙද්දක් දාගෙන හුස්ම මොනවාද හුස්ම අරගෙන හුස්ම පිට කරොත් ටික වෙලාවක් ගොඩක් ඉන්න එපා. එතකොට කාබන් ඩයොක්සයිඩ් අරක ඇතුලේ වැඩි වෙලා කාබන් ඩයොක්සයිඩ් බරක් වැඩිනේ, රස්නේ වැඩි වෙනවා. That is typical greenhouse effect. එතකොට greenhouse effect එක use කරනවා ඔය greenhouse වල. ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ පැතිවල එහෙම සමහරට use කරනවා. Greenhouses for this because the side is basically it's not that much hot. To maintain hot temperature, greenhouse can be used, and more carbon dioxide, and also the temperature will increase the amount of vegetables and fruits which can be cultivated. That is another reason. But anyway, globally when it happens, when the amount of carbon dioxide is high, and carbon monoxide is high, it will damage ozone, and due to that, the global warming and glaciers can be erosion of glaciers can also be happen. Okay. So then natural causes and also human activities, construction, irregular water usage, soil usage, deforestation, greenhouse gases. And so this can affect, right? So actually scarcity of water, when amount of water is less, drought is the final situation. Decrease of rainfall and change of the rainfall pattern, can cause drought. El Nino is not a natural disaster, but that can extreme the weather, right? That is the only thing. El Nino is not a natural disaster that can extreme. ඒක අර උත්තේජනය කරනවා වගේම ඒක වැඩිපුර අපිට නියගේ තියෙනවා ඒක උපරිම කරලා දෙනවා. හරිද? ඒ වගේම වැස්ස දිනවා න්යා ඒකත් වැඩි කරලා දෙනවා. ඒ වගේ තමයි සමහරට අඩු කරලා දෙනවා. That can El Nino and La Nina situations. La Nina and El Nino affecting the other side, right? Opposite way. Okay, east west monsoon එක සාමාන්‍යයෙන් east west එකේ ඔයාලට El Nino එකක් ආවොත් මම මෙතන දාන්නම් El Nino කියලා. En La Nina Ln. East west monsoon is there. When this comes, it will reduce the rain. But if La Nina situation, east west monsoon comes, then it will increase the rain. That is why I said it's opposite affection. Then the other one, the southeast one. Oh, sorry, east west. Northwest, right? Oh, sorry. Yeah. This one. Southwest one. Northeast. Sorry. Southwest, right? My mistake. East west. Rail line. Southwest monsoon, El Nino comes. It will decrease the rain, but La Nina will increase. And when this northeast, so if El Nino comes, it will increase. La Nina will decrease. Opposite affection. Okay. Other than drought, so what are the other things that we need to look at? Then you can see here influence of the drought. So there are a lot of influences. So it can even affect the groundwater, non-groundwater both. Basically, water, the direct effect is the amount of water will be low. That will affect agriculture, health, energy field, because we are using hydro plants to produce energy. So at that time, a lot of power cuts due to dry season, and the forests are also affecting. Sometimes the amount of green layer can be reduced, soil erosion, and even this can. So after a certain drought period, if rain comes, it can even increase the erosion and landslides. එක පාරණියකට පස්සේ ලොකු වැස්සක් ආව සමහර ලාවට අර පස්වල ගස් එහෙම නැති වෙලා වියලිලා තිබ්බොත් එහෙම ඒවා නාය යන්නත් පුළුවන් කරා. So those are some indirect affections, and soil quality of the soil and wetness of the soil is also affected. Okay. So then in any kind of disaster, not just in a drought situation, in any kind of disaster, there are 3 ways to manage. The first is avoidance. You can ready and avoid it, but most are unavoidable, right? Because these are climate change, weather changes, not just man-made activities, so unavoidable. එක මග අරගන්න අමාරු වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ හින්දා ඒත් අපිට readiness තියාගන්න පුළුවන්. Readiness තියාගන්න ඕන එකකට. Drought, so we can collect rainwater harvesting system, tanks. We can manage our constructions without damaging the water resource. Deforestation can be reduced. Reforestation can be implemented. නැවත වගා කරන්න පුළුවන්. වන වගාව කරන්න පුළුවන්. කපන එක අඩු කරන්න පුළුවන්. ගස් කපන එක අඩු කරන්න පුළුවන්. වන වගාව කරන්න පුළුවන්. Tanks හදන්න පුළුවන්. Rainwater collect කරන්න පුළුවන්. We can do a lot of things for the readiness because it is unavoidable. Mitigation, once happened. Mitigation means once happened, what we can do. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි පාලනය mitigate කියලා කියන්නේ පාලනය කරනවා. අපිට පුළුවන් දැන් නියගේ ඇවිල්ලා. දැන් පුළුවන් තරම් මේක පාලනය කරගන්න. අපිට පුළුවන් මොනවා වගේද අපිට වතුර පරිස්සමෙන් පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්. We can protect water, we can we can reduce hydro plants, reduce waste in water. So can be done, some activities can be done to mitigate that, control that. Adaptation, live with the disaster, like corona. So it is not for the drought, but even in drought situation can be done. Adaptation is basically, so sometimes these deep wells, ගැඹුරුලින් නලලින් වගේ වහදන ඒවා ඊළඟට like sharing water resources, like නාන්න උනත් අර ලින් වල බැව් ඒ වගේ දේවල් භාවිතා කරන එකෙන් ෂෙයා වෙනවනේ. So these are some ways of protecting water and controlling. Okay, so then since this is unavoidable anyway, we have to plan and we have to avoid wastage and pollution. Water pollution is also a problem. Wastage විතරක් නෙමෙයි. වතුර දූෂණය වුණොත් වතුර තියෙන අපිට පාවිච්චි කරන්න බෑ. That can even be a problem, right? So pollution can reduce it. And maybe we can cultivate agriculture, planting agriculture, agricultural like the seeds and all, which are adapting to the drought situation, right? So drought resistant corn plants. සමහර පැල තියෙනවා නියගයට ඔරොත්තු දෙන්නේ. වතුර ඕනේ වනේ වතුර අඩුවෙන් ඕන පැල හැදුවා නම් හරියනේ. So that is another thing, right? Then water management, rainwater harvesting. As I said, මේවා තියෙනවා මේ උතුරු මැද පළාත්වල, උතුරු පළාත් එහෙම තියෙනවා. වතුර වැහි වතුර එකතු කරගෙන ඒවා පිරිසිදු කරලා ගන්න. Reforestation, as I said, reduce the hydropower, alternative power systems like solar. Okay, the next one is flood. Drought, we have discussed a lot. Flood is basically can be due to two things. So overflow of tanks, pitara යනකින් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Or it can be like instantaneous floods, like situations, especially in areas like Colombo and suburbs like suburban areas like Gampaha, Colombo, even this Ratnapura area, they got instantaneous floods. Not due to the, even due to this overflowing that can happen. Overflowing, තියෙන ඕගොල්ලන්ගේ පැතිවලනේ අර ජලාශ පිටාර ගිහිල්ලා ඔය ඒ වගේ තියෙනවා ටිකක් වැඩිපුර තියෙන ජලාශ තියෙන පැති. Instantaneous එන්න පුළුවන් මිනිස්සුන්ගේ අර හරියට ඉදි කරන්නේ නැතුව බිල්ඩින් අරේ මේ හදලා වතුර ගලා යාම ආවරණය drainage, water drainage systems in urban areas can be blocked. එතකොට එකපාරක් වැස්සත් යට වෙනවා. දවස් දෙකක් වැස්සත් යට වෙනවා. ඒ වගේව තියෙනවා. Especially in Gampaha area, a lot of like this instantaneous floods due to the mismanagement of drainage systems and blocking of the drainage systems. Right, high rainfall and also forest layer removal, like deforestation, high rainfall, constructions and blocking of this capacity of the tanks, reducing capacity of the tanks, irregular construction work, blocking drainage water systems, that can be the reasons. Right, so this is a clear thing, right? We can, it's affecting our lives. It can spread some disasters like, diarrhea, like bade, cholera, වගේ මේවා පැතිරෙන්න පුළුවන්. ලෙඩ රෝග, mosquitoes, මදුරු, dengue වගේ දේවල් යන්න පුළුවන්. These things can also be problems, right? Sanitary issues, right? සනීප ආරක්ෂක ප්‍රශ්න එන්න පුළුවන්. Power supply breakages, power වලට damage වෙන්න පුළුවන්, property damage වෙන්න පුළුවන්, ජීවිත නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන්, right? So these are, and also pollution, drinking water pollution, බොන ජලය අපවිත්‍ර වෙන්න පුළුවන්, drinking water pollution. These are the things, issues that can happen due to the floods. Right. How the management should be done. So if there is a risk, right, basically if there is a risk of previous flood, so you can be ready, you can protect your things. Maybe you can build 2 stairs in houses and you can just increase the height where vehicle parks and all. You can just put it in some height. And also move into another place where this flood can occur, right? And also basically be away from these flooding areas, and without driving, without moving to the outside, can be in a safe place, right? Then have a bag ready for the disaster. And so in the certain areas there are, so those are not actual formal ways, there are ways of hanging this bed and other materials in the roof. හරිද? ඒවා මේ formal ඉදි නෙවෙයි. වහල එල්ලන්න හදලා තියෙනවා ඇඳවල් ඔක්කොම උස්සලා එල්ලලා තියලා ඒගොල්ලෝ ගෙවල් වලින් අයින් වෙලා ඉන්නව කාලයක්. ඒ මේවා තියෙන කාලේ. සමහර වෙලාවට උස් කරලා හදලා තියෙනවා ගෙවල්. උඩට කරලා. එහෙමත් තියෙනවා. And this basically safe places, and also government need to be concerned about this drainage systems. And these are the things. Okay. Then how many pages we have to discuss? We had to discuss about thundering also, right? Anyway, so let's try to finish one more at least. That is landslides, earth slips. So landslides, earth slips, again, very common in these areas where this, you can see this mountain areas, mountain ranges. This is very common. And how this happened, main reason, or one of the main reason, is deforestation, and heavy rains can even make the soil wet and slip. Right? When it slips, you know, it carries the other plants, houses, rocks, everything, because there is a big energy inside this, which is basically it's in great heights, no? So the උස වැඩි වෙන්න ඒවා විභව ශක්තිය වැඩි. එතකොට ඒවා හිමීට move වෙද්දි මොකද වෙන්නේ? When it's moving down, it will carry other things because of this energy, and it will become like moving energy. ඒක ගොඩාක් වේගෙන් move වෙගෙන යනකොට තවත් energy එක වැඩි වෙලා තියෙන ඔක්කොම ටික ගලවගෙන තමයි. So that can even go to 1-2 kilometers. So very common in areas where these unwanted or improper constructions are there, or sometimes cultivations by removing these forests. So those areas, this is very common. Road constructions, improper construction of houses, deforestation. Because of that, landslides can be really high. And so what are the signs? So anyway, due to the gravitational potential, වෘත්තයේ හින්දා කොහොමත් පල්ලයට ඇදිලා යන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ හින්දා කොහොමත් පස් බුරුල් වෙලා තියෙනවා නම්, විතර වහිනවා නම්, ඒ වගේම පොළවේ හරි උල්පත් ජලයේ මොන හරි වෙනසක් තියෙනවා නම්, if there are visible differences in walls, like lines in the walls, and maybe earthquakes like things, right? You have to be careful. So these are some signs. You can see here, receiving 100 millimeter or more rainfall within 24 hours. Millimeter 100ට වැඩි විශාල වර්ෂාපතනයක් තියෙනවා. Tracks on the buildings, පැලුම් තියෙනවා නම් building වල. New tracks on the surface. And depressions, ගිලා බැහිම් තියෙනවා නම්. And then dying and slanting trees on the slopes. පල්ලම් වල තියෙන ගස් එහෙම මේ මැරෙනවා නම් හෝ ඒවා ඒ කියන්නේ මුල් damage වෙනවා. ඒකට හේතුව පැල ගස් වල මැරෙනවා නම් ඒකේ තේරුම මුල් යටින් damage වෙනවා. ඇල වෙනවා වගේ ගස් ඇල වෙලා තියෙනවා. That can be the reason. Sudden leaking of muddy water and slopes. වතුර leak වෙන තැන්. Sudden surface runoff waters. ඒ කියන්නේ උල්පත් ජලය එක තැන් වලින් appear වෙනවා නම්. And abnormal animal sounds, their behaviors, they are moving out. So there can be some reasons. You have to be careful. If a previous landslide was there in the particular area, so people need to be moved away. කලින් තියෙනවා නම් landslide එකක් භූ විද්‍යා සහ පතල් කියලා තියෙන්නේ ඒගොල්ලෝ බලනවා නම්, if they recognize a potential landslide, they will move the people from the risk area. That is done by the government, right? And so then need to, like, when there is a rainfall, they are moved, and basically removing the slide initial area and bringing down the water using pipelines. And also, have you seen this bigger contour ditches? Contour, contour ditches කියලා කියන්නේ මොනවාද ඒවට කියන්නේ? අර මෙහෙම හදන්නේ පුතේ ඔයාලගේ පැතිවල අර කෙල්මලු ක්‍රමයට මේවා කරනකොට කාණු දාන්නේ. මොනවාද ඒවට කියන්නේ සිංහලෙන්? අඳුවල තියනවා නේද මෙහෙම? What are these called? හෙල්මල්. ඒ වගා කරන ක්‍රමයනේ හෙල්මලු. ඒ step by step හදන එකනේ. ඕකේ අර කාණු දාන එකට නමක් කියනවා. සමක් මට මතක නෑනේ සිංහල නමක් කියනවා හොඳ මේ. සමෝච්ච රේඛාවලට දාන මේවා කියන එක සමෝච්ච රේඛා කියන අර එකම උස මට්ටමින් මෙහෙම දාන කාණු දානව නේද ඔය. අර පල්ලයට ගලන්නේ නැති වෙන්නේ. හෙල්මලු ක්‍රමයක් එකක් තමයි හෙල්මලු ක්‍රමය කියන්නේ මේ තියෙන්නේ මේ so here vetiver method and also contour ditches කියලා කියන්නේ කොහොම හරි අර එකම සමෝච්ච එකම උස මට්ටමින් දාන කාණු. එතකොට වතුර ගලන්න නෙවෙයි වතුර පරිස්සමෙන් පල්ලයට මේව කරන්න. contour ditches කියලා කියනවා. contour ditches. අමේති මේක පොඩි ස්ලෝප් එකක් තියෙනවා. contour ditches. සමාන්තර කාණු කියලා දාගමු. සිංහල වචනයක් තියෙනවා වීඩියෝ හොඳ. Okay, these are contour buds and contour ditches. Right here you can see. So then actually water will not move gradually. වතුර එකපාර යන්නේ නැහැ මේ කඩාගෙන බහලට. මොකද මේ හරහට යන වතුරට පුළුවන්. ඒක තමයි ගොඩක්ම කරන්නේ. අනිත් එක මේක ලොකු පල්ලමට හදන්නේ නැහැ. මේක එකම මට්ටමේ හදන්නේ. So those are the contour ditches. Right here. Okay. So this can reduce because this can reduce මොකද ඒතර වතුර මෙහෙම එකපාරට මෙහෙම පල්ලයට එන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ වෙනුවට වතුර හරහට යන්නේ. By doing that you can manage rainwater. That's why. Contour නෙමෙයි contour ditches. TO. Rainwater slope without letting it soak into the soil. ඒක උරා ගන්න දෙන්නේ නැතුව වතුර උරා ගන්න දෙන්නේ නැතුව එක ගානට පතුරවන එක තමයි එකෙන් කරන්නේ. පස්වලට හැමතැනම උරන්නේ නැහැ ඒක. Okay, then vetiver method of cultivating and preparing the land. So that is another. Okay, with that I will stop. This is what that National Building Research Organization, and so they are the people who look at the threats of landslides. NBRO. So before you make building in such a place, you have to get the approval, special approval from NBRO about the status of the land and the potential landslides. Okay, final one is lightning, and I think we can discuss that part later. Only small part is there. I will finish that next day, right? Okay, good night.
Good night, sir. Thank you, sir.